Right now, Jake Epstein joins me. He is the lead in Spring Awakening, which is coming to Miami very soon. And Jake, thanks for taking the time to talk to me here on WLRN.
Of course.
I wanted to take our listeners on a little bit of a journey if they don't know about Spring Awakening and what the storyline is. Maybe you could explain it for us a little bit.
Sure. Well, Spring Awakening is it's about a group of German teenagers living in 1891 Germany in a repressed society, discovering their sexuality. So it sort of follows the lives of a group of teenagers. And along with that, there's this amazing indie rock score that accompanies it.
Okay, so it's 1891. It's Germany. It sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it's a really intense show. It speaks to people on different levels. It talks about sex essentially, and about teenagers discovering sexuality in a society where parents don't want to talk about it, and in fact, it's ignored. And sort of shows the consequences of that. And what's amazing about Spring Awakening was that it was written over 100 years ago, and the show was actually banned when it was first written. But 100 years later, it's being done with this rock and roll score, and it's still just as controversial today as it was so many years ago.
It's pretty amazing all those years later. I mean,
really, it is amazing.
Our society sometimes with sexual things, we're still sort of prudish about it, I guess.
Well, I think, I think people are sort of okay with seeing sex in movies and maybe even on TV. There's something about, a play, like a live, theater play that deals with sexuality, that it just makes it really, really intense for some people. And I think the show really doesn't talk down to its audience. It portrays the story in a very realistic way, and people are affected by that.
And you mentioned it has sort of a rock score. The music is sort of rock, which some people have sort of compared it to Rent a little bit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, Rent was written as like a piece of musical theater. Like the music is sort of intertwined with the story. Mm-hmm. With Spring Awakening, I mean, the music is amazing. Duncan Sheik wrote the score, and the music stands alone as an album. In fact, I think it won a Grammy when it first came out. What's so amazing about the show, what's so unique about it, is that there's the band, the rock band, is on the stage with us. And when each character sings, as opposed to like a regular musical where, you like, just break out into song randomly.
Right.
Here, I mean, to sort of describe what each character is going through, the action stops and we pull like a microphone out of our jacket and we become the lead singer of the rock band.
Oh, how cool. I didn't realize.
Yeah, it's really unique. Yeah.
That is pretty unique. I can't wait to see it. So take us a little bit more into the story, if you can.
Sure, okay. I play a character named Melchior, mm-hmm. who's, this very intellectual and rebellious student who has, he's read all about sex, but of course has never experienced it himself. And sort of his journey through the story is he falls in love with this girl in the town. She, of course, grows up and knows her. She keeps asking her mother to tell her about where babies come from, and her mother doesn't know how to respond and won't respond. And so these two fall in love, and Vendla is the female character's name, and she doesn't know what sex is, and Melchior does, and there's sort of tragic consequence with the two characters falling in love and experiencing sex for the first time. And at the same time, Melchior's best friend Moritz is having wet dreams and is discovering his sexuality, and he's a complete mess. And it's all these characters sort of discovering their sexuality at a really intense time in their lives.
As the story moves along, do they find their answers to their questions?
Well, people will have to come see the show to sort of deal. I mean, there's sort of there's not a simple answer to that question. I think people take away very different things from the show. Everybody has their own message and their own experience with it, huh? Yeah, and it's amazing because we've had totally different audiences come and see this show. There's a real like youth following, like tons of teenagers who can relate to the characters come see the show, and at the same time, it's such an interesting piece of theater. These really avid theater goers can go and totally get a kick out of the story and the staging and how unique it all is. And at the same time, it's a rock concert, so people who've I know a lot of people that have been sort of dragged to see it, who don't like to go see theater, have loved it because it's this amazing rock concert. You know, it's this amazing story set to great music.
Right. I've heard it said that this show has changed Broadway or theater in the way that people are used to seeing shows on the stage, but this has sort of changed everything. It's blown it all out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really nothing like it.
And that's because it's totally different in the sense that it's almost like a rock concert, but it's got a great story, and lots of people from all different backgrounds would be interested in this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And of course, back in the day, it won the Best Musical Tony Award, Best Book, and Best Score.
It did. It won 8 Tony Awards.
Wow. I was going to say there's a whole list, including that Grammy Award for the show album, Drama Desk Awards, and Outer Critic Awards as well. So it's sort of taken Broadway by storm, but I have to say that I really didn't know much about it, and I haven't seen it. So I'm looking forward to the show coming, so I can get to see it because everybody is talking.
It's been great being on tour because a lot of people have sort of heard about it. There was huge hype around the show, but a lot of people couldn't make it to New York to see it. So it's been so cool going around the U.S. Performing the show.
You mentioned the band is on the stage of Spring Awakening. What other sets are there, if there are? Are there sets, so to speak?
It's really cool. The sets are really cool because it's when the show was first performed off Broadway. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the theater, but it was this smallish theater in New York. The basement of the theater was where they performed it, and apparently it sort of had brick walls, and they kind of just hung up, this collage of pictures that were sort of inspired by the story. And as far as I know, the way the story goes is when the show moved to Broadway, they were sort of trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do for a set? Like, we never had a set. We just kind of had these bare walls. So what they actually did is they recreated the walls of this basement theater, and that is our set. That we have these sort of brick walls with this amazing collage of pictures and everything on it. Another really cool thing is that there's audience that sits on the stage with us.
And how do those lucky people get to be on the stage? It's just
I think that the day of, they're actually the cheapest tickets. You go and you line up.
Oh, like a lottery before the performance or rush tickets or something?
Yeah. I think it's different in every city the way it works, but I'm pretty sure it's usually you can go the day of and line up and see the show really close up. And the characters on stage don't really leave the stage. When we exit, we just kind of sit down with the audience, so we're right there with them.
It's not a traditional musical, and it's got sort of this whole different sound to it, look to it, concept. Do you appreciate that compared to other, musicals that are...
Sure. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of musicals. I grew up, I loved theater, but I always just found it really cheesy to see musicals and to see people just sort of randomly break out into song. I remember when I first saw Spring Awakening on Broadway, I was completely blown away. I'd literally never seen anything like it. I was just so drawn in by it, and I just thought it was so unique the way they incorporated the music with the story. Like, it was so unusual. And I remember my first impression was that when each character broke out into song, they would sort of reveal their true feelings about what was going on in this, like, contemporary rock. Like, they became a rock star version of their character. And then they kind of, when the song ended, they'd revert back into their 1891 German character. So yeah, I mean, it's really wild. I think there's a real, like, authenticity to it as opposed to, like, a cheesy musical,
I getcha.
Yeah.
So you're having a great time on tour. The story is from, again, you said 1891, a German play.
Yeah, it's a really well-known German play by Frank Wedekind. Who wrote it in, I think, 1891 or 1890, and yeah, it was banned. As far as I know, it was banned for, I think, 50 years or somewhere around there before it was first performed. And
what about the music in this? Who's behind the music?
Well, the music was written by Duncan Sheik. Oh, and I should say Stephen Sater, who also won a Tony Award.
Oh, wrote the lyrics.
He wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, we want to throw him in there. Don't forget him.
Yeah, important to mention him as well.
It won it won 11 nominations, winning 8.
It won 8, yeah.
Yeah, including Best Musical, Best Direction, Book Score, Feature Actor, and Spring Awakening coming to Miami. So, Jake Epstein, thanks for taking the time to talk to us here on WLRN.
Thanks. Great to talk to you.
Spring Awakening opens at the Adrian Arsht Center on May 11th and runs through May 16th. Head to arshcenter.org for more information. For South Florida Arts Beat, I'm Paul Leary.